Hello, everybody. Welcome back into Sports and Money with Benjamin Parker. Thank you so much for being with us today. Hope we can make your day a little bit better, a little bit more fun today. This is the pro football general manager version of the show that we like to do, where we just sit back and take a look at some of the choices that the teams and the general managers have to make. Today, we're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles. We're in January of the 2019 off season, and the Eagles have a very big question at quarterback. Now, I'm not going to tell you much of anything you don't know. I think ESPN and other outlets have well documented the decision that the Eagles are going to make. I don't think it's any big question that they're going to keep Carson Wentz as the starter, and that Nick Foles is going to either be let go or most likely traded. I think the big question, though, is why? Why pick Carson Wentz and why not Nick Foles? And we're going to look at that today and do an actual breakdown. I think that might be something a lot of you have been asking. A lot of you haven't been able to see a good breakdown of it. This is it right here. Why is it so obvious that we should pick Carson Wentz if we're a Philadelphia Eagles fan? And why is it so obvious that we should let go of the guy who won our Super Bowl for us and actually dueled toe-to-toe with Tom Brady in what was one of the best Super Bowls, if not the best ever? Why is it so obvious? We're going to look at that today, and there's three reasons. Some of you are looking at the board, I know. The number one reason to me, I think, is talent. Listen, Nick Foles played one of the best Super Bowls we've ever seen. He had an amazing run starting with the end of that regular season and going all the way through to the Super Bowl. There's no question about that. Carson Wentz didn't get that chance. If he was healthy, we don't know what he would have done. But what we do know is this, that when Carson Wentz was healthy and took the field in 2017, he was playing at an MVP level. He was one of, if not the best quarterback in the NFL for the majority of that season. And for that reason, and for Nick Foles' previous history as well, before he came to the Philadelphia Eagles, I think when you look at all the career statistics, I think it's very obvious that Carson Wentz is the better quarterback. Now, some of you may say different. Some of you say, hey, Nick Foles has a Super Bowl on his resume, and Wentz does not, therefore Foles has the most talent. That's fine if you want to see it that way. But in my opinion, when you look at the statistics, when you look at who's leading the team and who's had the playing time, who's looked the best when they've been healthy, it's really been Carson Wentz, and it's really not even that close. Like we said, we don't know what he would have done had he been healthy and been able to play in that Super Bowl against the Patriots. We just won't know that. Major props to Nick Foles. No doubt he had one of the best performances ever, but I still think the talent lies with Carson Wentz. Even if you're not willing to give Carson Wentz the edge on talent, he gets the easy edge in the other two areas, and these are big areas. The next one is the money. Here's the money. Coming up next season, if the Eagles want to, they can pick up an option on Nick Foles for $20.6 million with a dead cap hit of only $1.8 million. This means that if they want to keep him on the season for next year, they can. It'll cost them $20.6 million. If they want to cut him after they sign him to that option, they can cut him and only take a $1.8 million loss. They won't do that. If they decide they want to trade him, and this is the best part, if they decide they want to trade him, when you trade a player, you still have to eat that dead cap money. That's only $1.8 million. It only costs them $1.8 million to trade him. That's tremendous value. That's why you're hearing that they're probably going to sign him to that one-year option instead of letting him walk. You know, when you have Nick Foles, you have something that people want. And if you didn't have Carson Wentz, you would want him too. But you've got Carson Wentz, so if you're going to trade him and it's only $1.8 million, you can rack up. There are teams out there. I wouldn't be one of those teams if I was general manager, but there are teams out there who are going to throw a lot of money at Nick Foles, and in the process, they're going to throw some draft picks in the path of the Philadelphia Eagles, and this is only going to help the Philadelphia Eagles get closer to another Super Bowl victory, at least the possibility of that if you have a healthy Carson Wentz. So they are going to have Nick Foles at $20.6 million. Carson Wentz is only making $8.5 million this upcoming season. Listen, $8.5 million is nothing for any starting quarterback in the league. It's especially nothing for a guy who has produced when healthy like Carson Wentz has produced. They also have a fifth-year option in 2020. Don't exactly know what that number will be yet. That will probably be somewhere in the neighborhood of $11 or $12 million, depending on what the cap numbers say when they come out for next season. That's really, really cheap, though. That is nothing to pay for a starting quarterback. It's especially nothing to pay for a quarterback who produced at the MVP level that Carson Wentz did. So the money factor here easily goes to Carson Wentz. The age factor is not huge, but it's important. Carson Wentz has not had to play as much NFL football. He's only played 3 seasons. He's only 26 years old at the time of this video. Nick Foles is 29, so that's a 3-year difference. Again, that's not enormous. That's not enough to scare you off from Nick Foles, but it is enough, combined with these other things, to make you pick Carson Wentz. So if you want to know why it's so obvious the Eagles are going to pick Carson Wentz and let Nick Foles go, it's because of the talent. I think Carson Wentz is the better quarterback by a good bit. I think he has a much higher ceiling to play for. The money thing, and that's a huge thing. I cannot stress how huge the money is here. Some people have been asking, why won't they just keep both quarterbacks? Because if you put it together, $20.6 million with 8.5, you have about $29 million. That's on the high-priced end of what quarterbacks are making, but that's still not too bad. You get 2 quarterbacks for the price of 1, and the reason is this. If you're the Eagles, while it would be nice to have Foles on the roster and keep him as your backup just in case Wentz isn't healthy, that would be awesome, okay? Here's what you can get instead. For $20.6 million, you can instead get 2 other quality starters on your team, or you get to keep 2 other quality starters on what is already a very good roster. That $20.6 million spread to other positions such as offensive line or edge rusher or cornerback, or you name the position that you want to fill or the position that you want to keep. If they keep this money for Nick Foles, then that means they've either got to let 2 other guys go or not get 2 other guys in free agency that they could get to help that roster. Also, if they get some draft picks for Nick Foles, even if all they get is 1 first-rounder or a first and a third or whatever it is they can get off of some team that is desperate to have a starting quarterback like a Nick Foles, who's already won a Super Bowl and already shown that he can throw for a lot of yardage at times, if you can get those draft picks and keep this money for the other positions on the team, you are miles and miles ahead for a roster that is built to win right now. If you're the Eagles, you're not trying to rebuild. You have a roster that's ready to win right now. And so having those draft picks, having that extra cap space for a roster that's ready to win right now for the next 2 seasons before Carson Wentz hits his own big free agent quarterback money, this is the time to do it. This is your chance to win. So that's what you're looking at. That's why it's so obvious why they should keep Carson Wentz over Nick Foles. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.